What's going on, everybody? Sorry it's been so long. I have been extremely busy. The last video I put on, I got to catch that steelhead, which I've been trying to catch so hard for so long. I finally think I've got it figured out, at least with the bobber and the jig. That was an awesome day. It would not have happened unless my wife talked me into it, because that day I planned on laying around and being lazy. And she was like, you know what, I'm bored sitting around, let's go out and do something, and let's go fishing. And I was like, I don't know. But she talked me into it. We ended up driving out the Wilson River, and I found a couple spots. First spot, not so great. Second spot is where I hit, but it was on the last cast. I even said last cast. Some of you do that, some of you don't. I've always done that. I've just tried to trick the fish gods and say, oh, that's my last cast. Throw out, and I usually catch one. So, bobber goes under. I'm thinking that it snagged on a tree. I wasn't, really paying attention too much for whatever reason. And I went to snag it out, set the hook just in case, fish on. So that was super cool. Watch that video if you want to see that fish, and I put some pictures in there also. Today, though, the reason why I wanted to put a video on, other than I haven't been on here so long, I want you to know that I'm still here. I've worked on a new crate this winter, so I took everything off Evolve last year, my first year with the crate and on my new kayak, and I thought the crate was phenomenal. But I wanted to add some different elements, some different things that I think would make it easier, and I cut back on some things, and I think you'll like it. So I'm going to show you a view from above, and then I will spread everything out and show you how much gear I really got in there and go over some of the stuff. But real quick, I'm just going to go over the outside of it. Right here I've got my flagpole holder, okay, and that's what I used for my GoPro before, and it was on the back end. This time I put it on the front because I use a PVC tube here that comes up and extends off the side for my back GoPro now. What this is excuse me, this comes straight up, and I can attach a foldable handle golf umbrella to that. And if it is pouring down rain, which a lot of times it does here in the Northwest, I can protect the top of my head, I can protect my shoulders and half of my legs. That way I stay a little bit warmer, and I have complete, no, it does not get in the way of my casting or my setting the hook or anything like that. Come around like this. This is my anchor line. I've talked about it before, but it is for hunting, and I got it from Cabela's. I had to order it online, but it's great. It is super strong, and when I'm finished with my anchor, it retracts right back in. I don't have to worry about any line or anything next to my feet. I added the rod holders to the back this time. I do have one up here also, but I wanted to add rod holders this time to the back. So I liked to keep everything on the inside to keep it very nice, but I think that this actually looks pretty good. This is where I keep my net, and then on the side I've got my cup holder. So that is the outside. So this is the inside of the crate that's empty right here. And like I said, this is for a $6 tool belt I got from Home Depot. I've got a small bungee cord in here that I kind of squared off, and that holds my containers right here. And then I can fit the Play-Doh container with the pink lid over here, and some other accessories. So that's what it looks like empty. Typically I would spray paint all these huge zip ties, which I'll do before I go out, just to give it a cleaner look. Alright, so this is the inside of my crate, and as you can see, I've got a whole lot of stuff in there, and a majority of this stuff is going to be for bass fishing. Okay, I do keep some things for steelhead, for salmon, that I would keep in a separate bag. I've got some trout bait here with some smaller hooks, just in case I do want to switch it up, but bass is my thing. I love fishing for largemouth, smallmouth bass. Here in the Northwest, it's been river fishing for smallmouth bass. I have caught some decent largemouth bass out on the coast at some coastal lakes, but they're not lunkers. So I've had a lot of fun, and I've learned a lot about smallmouth bass fishing West Coast. So anyways, to get into my crate, I have a glove. You never know when you'll need a glove for one reason or another. I've got this hat right here. I got this off of Amazon for extremely cheap, and it has a light on it. So when I go out super early in the morning and it's still chilly out, it's nice to have, I kill two birds with one stone. I keep my head warm and I can see my feet. I can see what I'm doing. Right here I've got my fishing hat. I just bought this for cheap off of Amazon. Again, it's just to protect my head, my neck, my ears, and all that. And one more head gear that's even more embarrassing than all that is my hat umbrella. But this is going to be amazing. I don't care how stupid I look. I really don't. I'm out fishing. I'm not trying to impress anybody. So if I can keep my head dry and my my upper torso dry with something like that, then I'm going to go for it. I do have the umbrella, the golf umbrella that covers me a lot more, but I won't always bring that if it's not in the forecast. So those of you who live in the Northwest, you just never know when the rain's going to come down. I've got some kids suntan lotion. It's 50 SPF and it's tear proof. So I like that because I'm still going to sweat a lot if I have my hat on and the sun's coming down. And if you get that in your eyes, it's a real pain in the butt to try to kayak around and to try to go fishing. So just a little tip, kids suntan lotion. And I've got a couple towels here, both of them very bright. And I'll use one to dry my hands, and I may use the other one just to put on the back of my kayak so boats can kind of see me, because those are very bright yellow. Alright, in my fishing containers here I've got some soft baits. I've got some frogs, I've got some zooms, the little curly tail guys. But my biggest one, and everybody knows, is my usually using Gary Yamamoto the Senkos, but my soft plastic worms, my wacky worms. I've gone with Strike King because they are very similar to a Gary Yamamoto. They have a very good action on them, and they're less than $3. So to me, paying $10 for the Gary Yamamotos, I may splurge once in a while, but I've found that Strike Kings are very good alternatives, and I can get them in all different colors. I've got the Gary Yamamoto still because I bought about 500 packs of them over the years, so I have a ton of them. And the Yums are also very good, but they used to be cheap and they're starting to get expensive. They're starting to get right up there with the Gary Yamamoto, so good alternative, go with this. I get a majority of them from Walmart. They've got them there. In my crate down here, I've got some bobbers, some weights, glasses, swivels, my trout bait, like I said, some chapstick. I keep all my hooks in here. I like using weedless hooks, size 5-0, 4-0. I like bigger size hooks. That's just because I'm smaller hook on a larger fish. I don't want to gut hook them. I don't want to kill them. I don't want to hurt them. I want to be able to release them without damage. So the larger the hook, the better. I may miss on a smaller fish, but that's fine. I'd rather miss a fish and let it live than kill it. I've got my hook sharpener and my line remover if I need that also. And going right over here, I've got some other hard baits and swim baits and all that stuff. I've got some frogs. I really like using these on the river over the tall grass or on the lily pads out on the lakes over on the coast. I've got some fish juice or whatever, you know, the lure stuff you put on. I love the jitterbug moving across the top. I've got some Rapals, go all different depths. And the jigs actually have been very useful. I'll put a trailer on there, but caught a lot of nice fish. You know, once the fish start moving down towards the bottom of the river and in the middle of the Willamette or any of the rivers over here, the Molalla, it does get pretty deep. So sometimes if you want to fish down, you know, at the bottom, or work your way halfway down and move it down to the bottom, you gotta use a heavy jig. You probably could get away with putting a heavy weight on the line and using a Senko worm, but jigs are the way to go on that. So yeah, that's pretty much my fishing bag. Right back here, I decided to ask for an emergency paddle for my kayak too, just in case. I don't use a leash. I don't like having lines by my feet, hence the retractable anchor line. So one of these days I'm sure I will lose my paddles, and at least I'll be able to get to where I need to get, and I'll keep that in my boat. So alright, well, I appreciate you checking me out, and I hope you continue to watch my videos. I will be posting as soon as I can get out. I promise I'll be on the river. I'm just waiting for the water to get a little lower. I don't want to go out when it's too high, too fast, and can be dangerous. So as soon as that water level comes down and I get some decent weather for a week, I'm definitely getting out on the water. So thanks for checking me out, and